about manipulating the markets so that he could quietly enrich his friends who bought the dip before reversing it all in the morning. Boise, this is a matter of fact. Donald Trump is a criminal who was found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud, liable for sexual abuse. Of course he's lying and abusing and manipulating the stock market too. When he talks about rapists and criminals, he should look in the mirror.
AOC just dropped some serious truth bombs in Boise, Idaho, calling out the convicted felon currently squatting in our White House, who's blowing off federal court orders like they're nothing, like his refusal to give the Associated Press full access to White House press events. It's absolutely shameful. And let's not forget, Trump was caught on tape the other day telling human rights violator and dictator Nayib Bukele that he wants to send American citizens to El Salvadorian death camps.
Criminals next. Yeah. I said homegrowns are next. The homegrowns. You got to build about 5 more places. Yeah, that's fair. All right.
I mean, isn't he a homegrown criminal himself? The hypocrisy is just staggering. Oh, and let's be clear, he's a convicted felon, 34 felony counts, for illegally influencing an election. And yet, his administration is admitting they made a clerical error when they illegally deported Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the El Salvadorian death camp, CASAT, a terrorism confinement center known for mass human rights violations. And to add insult to injury, Bloomberg News is reporting that 90% of the migrants Trump deported to that death camp had 0 criminal records in the U.S. 0. So it's all a lie. And these psychopaths like Pam Bondi, Stephen Miller, and Caroline Leavitt are smearing them, calling them terrorists.
He is an MS-13 gang member. He was engaged in human trafficking. He illegally came into our country. And so deporting him back to El Salvador was always going to be the end result. There is never going to be a world in which this is an individual who's going to live a peaceful life in Maryland because he is a foreign terrorist and a MS-13 gang member. Not only have we confirmed that, President Bukele yesterday in the Oval Office confirmed that as well.
Let me just clutch my pearls in solidarity with the Christian love she's showing her fellow human beings. So, everything she just said is a lie. It's pure, unadulterated gaslighting, straight from the Trump playbook. The Trump DOJ hasn't presented a single shred of evidence that Mr. Garcia is in any way connected to any gang, let alone MS-13. And last time I checked, in a court of law, you're supposed to, present evidence. They don't have it. He was picked up in an IKEA parking lot because, get this, he was wearing a Chicago Bulls hat, had tattoos, and, oh yeah, he's brown. That's it. And it's not up to President Bukele to decide if Mr. Garcia is a terrorist, because Garcia was deported by the United States. And the fact that the Trump regime is openly defying a Supreme Court ruling isn't lost on anyone. Check this out. Watch as a group of mostly older, mostly white people in Trump-loving Senator Chuck Grassley's district confront him at a recent town hall. The clip's a bit long, but what they're saying is incredibly important. You need to hear this.
The least of these we do to Jesus, and that is what we've been taught, and that is what the gospel tells us. And I think turning away people who have come here for asylum is one of the most shameful things we are doing right now.
Yep. We welcome refugees. That's legal status.
Senator Grassley, we're not right
just a minute until it's quiet so I can hear you.
Senator Grassley, right now we're not. I mean, right now we're not. These changes have been taking place, and that's what concerns me so much.
There's no due process.
It hurts.
No due process.
Are you going to bring that guy back from El Salvador?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
Supreme Court said to bring him back.
Judges are.
Yeah.
The president is upholding the Constitution.
He's defined the
You're on the
Constitution.
Judiciary Committee.
Trump don't care.
If I get an order to pay a ticket for $1,200 and I just say no, does that stand up? Because he's got an order from the Supreme Court and he's just said no.
Yeah. He just said, screw it.
I'll be able to answer your question.
You ignored my letter.
Guatemala or El Salvador is an independent country. The president
Speak up, please. We can't hear you.
The president of that country is not subject to our U.S. Supreme Court.
Trump wanted to bring him back. I'm pissed.
We're paying him to keep him down here. We don't have to pay him. Excuse me, Senator Grassley, on that same subject, the Constitution, the framers of the Constitution said that every person, not citizen, every person within the jurisdiction of the United States has due process. That and we would like to know what you, as the people, the Congress, who are supposed to rein in this dictator, what are you going to do about it? These people have been sentenced to life imprisonment in a foreign country with no due process. Why won't you do your job, Senator?
Yeah.
Trump's not obeying the Supreme Court. He just ignores them.
Yeah, screw it.
Constitutional crisis. What does that consist of? A constitutional crisis exists when you have a president who ignores the Supreme Court. You have a Congress who fails to rein in a third branch of our government.
That's right.
Who is now violating our Constitution. You took an oath. I do solemnly swear or affirm. Do you remember that, sir? Yes, sir. That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That power exists within you and your other members of Congress. Do you speak to your other persons in the House of Representatives of your party? Do you communicate with them often? Do you discuss any of this with them? Do you hold any concern that Congress will be the next branch that Trump comes for because he is coming for the judicial?
That's in deep red Iowa, folks. That clip gives me a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, the tide's turning. And old Chuck Grassley? He's got no defense. He's totally out of his depth with those people. He's been riding shotgun with this corrupt administration from day one, and now his own constituents are calling him out, and he's just floundering. He's trying to blame everything on the Democrats because he knows he has no answers. He knows they're right. There's a moment where he raises his hand like, oh yeah, I remember my constitutional oath. And they're like, well, then do your job. And good on those people for knowing their rights, for knowing other people's rights, for knowing what the Constitution says, that everyone in the United States has the right to due process. We should all be that aware of our rights right now, because this corrupt and criminal regime is trampling all over not just human rights, but our fundamental constitutional rights. It's horrifying, it's vile, it's disgusting, and it's lawless. It's a dark and, frankly, terrifying time. We have ICE agents randomly showing up at schools in LA, lying to teachers, saying they're there on behalf of the kids' families. It's depraved, Nazi-level behavior. I saw a video this morning. They were just kicking down some guy's door at random. And luckily, he knew his rights. He told them to get the hell out, and they left. But this is what they're doing. They're kidnapping people who have the right to be here, right off our streets. We have an American president, a criminal who's openly defying the rule of law. And in the middle of all this, it's incredibly encouraging to see people like those folks in Iowa fighting back, holding their representatives accountable. I've been very vocal about my own Congresswoman, Jen Kagan. who refuses to meet with her constituents here in Virginia. It's absolutely shameful, and I pray that, in my very red district, people won't send her back to Congress. She doesn't deserve it. It's disgusting. But, as I've said in my recent takes, as terrifying as things are right now, and, oh my God, they are terrifying. Courage is contagious. When you see AOC up there speaking truth to power, like a boss, or Bernie Sanders, or those people at the town hall, or people telling ICE agents to get the hell off their property, it's like telling the devil to flee. It's like, get behind me, Satan. Sorry, but seriously, these people are evil, and they're acting on behalf of a truly evil president and his cronies. And I truly believe that when this is all over, and I'm claiming it will be, we will reclaim America. I believe everyone complicit in this wicked Trump regime will be held accountable. And I mean criminally accountable, because what they're doing is revolting and vile. They're harming millions, from ripping away Medicaid to the human rights violations they've committed against the hundreds they've shipped to a foreign gulag. It's just awful. Anyway, let's be fierce. Let's be fierce together. Thank you for watching.